Hey witches, it's your girl Yanni Setai, and this is the finale episode of my new little mini-series, Setai's Spooky Scary Stories. This episode is actually going to be a little bit different because this one is going to be featuring my father. He has to tell the beginning part of where all this stemmed from, and then I have to tell my personal experience. This episode is about when my father contacted a demon way before I was even thought of being born. And somehow the demon just came years later and contacted me. For what reason? I don't know. Maybe I just got it like that. And demons just look at me and be like, hey. But now we call the man. Okay, first say hi to everybody. My dad is about to be telling his half of how all of this originated, but he's not going to tell the whole thing. He's only going to be telling pieces.
I went to a private high school because I was so smart. They gave me a scholarship to go to a private high school, so it was weird. It was always the Twilight Zone. So in 12th grade, one time in school, they had a Ouija board. Right? And they was playing with the Ouija board, and that was just weird. That was just bizarre to us. We like, but at the time I was a non-believer in everything. That's actually the event that turned me into looking for everything, because I didn't believe in none of that. Like playing with the Ouija board and all that, and I ain't believing. Everybody's like, oh, and I was in the room saying all kind of crazy shit. Then it was like, oh, you can't say that stuff. Oh, you can't. I'm like, whatever. So I said, you know what? Somebody, whoever was sitting down, get up. And let me sit down and put my hand. What's the thing called that moves around?
The planchette.
So I sat down, I put my hands on the thing, and then we was asking questions. I don't remember none of the questions. And the shit started moving around, and I didn't believe it. I was like, that's you moving this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I got my hands on it. She's like, that's not me. Oh. You know what I'm saying? So the shit is moving. I'm not crazy like you see in the movies where it's sliding all over the place. It's just moving a little bit. But I swear, I was like, that's you doing it. You know what I'm saying? So me being the dumbass that I am sometimes, or used to be, I had said, I said, if this shit is real, then I'm going to summon a demon.
Spoiler alert, you're not supposed to do that.
Like, I was just talking a lot, and I was like, this ain't real, prove it to me, you know what I'm saying? I was doing all that. I want a demon, I want my own personal demon, follow me around, let me summon the demon, show me, I don't believe none of this shit. Then the thing on the table, what you call it, a planchette?
Yes, planchette.
Placendo, whatever it's called.
Please.
That shit started sliding and doing all kind of stuff, and the white girl, Vanessa, she was like, what are you doing? You can't do that. She started doing so we both, I was, you know what I'm saying, kind of moved our hands off of the thing, and I swear, and this is when I started getting shook, because she let it go, I let it go, and that shit went around the board like one more time before it flew off the table with no hands on it. And at that point now, I think that was the first point I started getting. I was like, oh shit. At this point, I don't know what I probably got quiet at that point. Probably was a little bit more quiet, but then I still had to go back into my character. Like, man, I don't believe that shit. You know what I'm saying? So the bullshit started on the first day. We ain't had no cell phone, we had none of that shit. But people did walk around with these little cameras called it was 110 cameras. That was the film size. It was 110. And 110 cameras is cheap. You could buy them at Woolworths. It was a department store back in the days called Woolworth. It would be what Walmart is now.
It's May value days at Woolworth.
Get your everyday store for value, 'cause at Woolworth your dollar goes far.
We actually had real cameras. We had to take that shit to the photo place to get developed. You go pick up your film. So later that day, my friend Will, like y'all be doing in the mirror, instead without the phone, just with the camera, we posed and took the picture. That was it. Then Will was like, he was asking me, he was like, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong with you? I don't know. You look weird. Something look different about you. Something. I ain't paying no mind. I'm like, basically, it's like the show. All right, we gotta go back to class. So later that night was the first night I had the nightmare. It was just weird, and then it just plagued me for many years. I would have these nightmares with the same character that used to tell me shit, and a lot of shit used to be real shit. My friends all thought I was weirdo, because he would say shit, then I would say shit, and then the shit would happen. It was just weird.
I know about
harm to people.
Okay.
And he used to warn me and say certain stuff to me, like, don't do this, don't do that, don't go there, don't talk to this person. He would say something in a dream, and then the next day something would happen. And it's like, oh shit, like, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, different people in my life, depending on how close it was to me, I would tell people the story about this, and if, you know, different shit start happening to them. One of my ex-girlfriends tried to clown me over the shit. One day we was arguing, and she tried to clown me. Basically, she's calling me a bozo. She's like, oh, all that dumbass shit you be talking about, you believe in that shit, and da 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 da, and that shit ain't real, fuck that, da 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 da. And then she left my crib and went and got on the highway and lost control of her car, and the shit flipped over like 5 times. She broke her pelvis, rib. Then after when I went to see her in the hospital, and she was like, oh, I'm never gonna say that ever again because.
Oh. I thought you was about to say the name. My heart just sunk so fast.
She's like, I'm never gonna say that again because I was driving and somebody snatched the steering wheel from me. Then she never clowned me ever again. I'm telling Keisha, I'm talking about it, and while we was talking, also we just heard all this glass breaking and shit. Keisha ran into her mother's room, into your grandmother's room, and the mirror that was on the dresser that had been there for the whole time he had the house since he was little. Since they was little kids, that shit been there. That shit just fell over off of the dresser and broke all the mirrors, knocked all the shit off the dresser, just broke mad shit. Just at the same moment when I was telling her, that's, you know what I'm saying, it's the first time I was telling her about the shit. And then that night when I went home, went to sleep, I was on the back of a pickup truck for some reason. I still remember this dream. And there was a car coming, and the car drove up mad fast. And then that dude, should I describe him? Black hat, black outfit, white hair, old, ugly, decrepit, zombie face looking dude. He leaned out the driver's side window and he said, keep talking and you're next. And then he went back in the car and peeled off and just drove away. And after that, I don't say nothing about him no more. I don't say the name. I'm not doing that.
I don't do demons.
When you hear this thing.
I know, and I'm gonna explain all that. But that's okay. That's the point. I'm a little bit cuckoo.
Oh, okay. That's it. Peace. He leaned out the driver's side window and he said, keep talking and you're next.
So that was my dad's portion of the story, even though that was literally like majority of it. But he basically told you the origin story of this entity. Okay, so for me, it was more of like he visited me. I don't want to use the word visit because I feel like that's for friends and family. Like when they visit you, I don't know. He haunted me? No. I don't know, but you know what I mean, and you know what I'm trying to say. It was one day, this was when I was living in New York. So we used to walk home from school all the time. And I was in middle school. So at the time, me and my cousin, we didn't walk home together because we went to 2 different schools. We went to 2 different middle schools and we went to the same high school. But I was walking with my best friend and we would like part ways at the end of the block because she lived around the corner from me. So we would just stop at the end of the block and then I would turn around and she would just like keep going to her house. So I would turn around, I walk back in my house. It was just literally like a normal day after school. You know them after school naps, they hit. So I was getting ready to take my after school nap and I was excited. I changed out of my clothes, everything. And the way that my house is set up is this side is where my room was. Then across the hall, like literally, is my grandmother's room, and then in between, or I guess I'll do it this way, but in between is where the bathroom is. So I was in my room and my door was open and my grandma's door was closed because she wasn't home. So it was only me and Sunny, which was our doggy dog. I remember Sunny was being like really weird that day. He used to do that a lot because like that house was just haunted, but he would like stare a lot, like into like random corners, I don't know, like, and he would just like stare, and then there would be moments where like he'll take his paw and like scratch at you, like he's trying to get you to look at something. And I used to send him right upstairs because I don't play that. Like if something is here and I don't see it, I don't want to know it's here. I don't want to be alerted that something is here. I just want to remain completely aloof. So don't tell me. So I used to send him right upstairs, and that's what I did. I sent him upstairs. Literally not too long after sending him upstairs, I heard something like fall, behind, like it sounded like it was coming, or it did come from my grandma's room, but it sounded like something fell like behind her door. So I'm like, okay, like what was that? So I went in her room, like I opened the door and I looked, and I'm like looking around and behind the door and everything, and like literally like nothing fell over. Like there was nothing on the floor, like everything was just in order, like the way that my grandma has kept her bedroom for years. So I know what it looks like. I'm just like, I know I just heard something fall, but I'm gonna just ignore it because I've been waiting for this nap all day and I'm about to take this nap. And I get in my bed, and literally I had like the worst nightmare ever. Like it was such a simple nightmare, but it was scary because it was like I instantly recognized who this guy was. Like, I don't want to say guy, who this demon was. That's what it was. He's a demon. Also, as y'all know already, I take his name very seriously. I do not say that name. I don't like when other people say his name. I will never, ever, ever in my life repeat that name ever, because no. But my mom, like, she just throws his name around like it's just nothing. Like casual conversation, like she'll just say his name. Like, you know when you're talking to somebody, like she just says it like it's nothing. And I just be like, can you like stop doing that? Like she did that last night and I literally got mad at her because that's just, I don't play with demons. I don't do demons. I don't do the evil stuff. Just keep it away from me. I like to be at peace and good spirits only. But anyways, back to my dream. So I went to sleep and I had this random dream of like, you know when you're choosing your character in a game and they do like that little slow spin around? So that's what I was looking at. But like, I'm not in the dream personally. Like I'm just seeing it as if it's a game that I'm playing. And it's this old man. And he's like, he's white, he's old, he has like a really pointy nose, and he just looks like, oh my god, ew, oh my god, I'm getting creeped out. He just looks like he's just not a great person. Like you could just see and like feel like the evilness. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's like, I hate talking about this. This was my idea, but he just looks so evil. Like, I don't know how to explain it. He's just old and decrepit and just like gross looking. He has a really pointy nose. He has like these piercing blue, like grayish eyes that literally like stare into your soul. Like, and he had like white, longish hair, like white stringy hair. I think he had like a bald spot in the middle, kind of. And he's just spinning around, and he's in a hospital gown, like just a blue hospital gown. And he's just spinning around. And so he does the full 360 one time, then he goes again. But then the second time that he does the full 360, he has like, he pulls a knife from like behind his back. I feel like I sound like a psychopath. But like, he pulls a knife from behind his back, and then he looks at me. Let me show y'all an example. Like, so he's spinning around, but he's looking like this. So no eye contact. And then he spins around the second time, and when he spins around the second time, he brings the knife up like this and then looks me dead in the face like this. But like, you could just like feel the evilness. Like, it's not like a staring at you like, oh, I'm acknowledging your presence. It's a stare like, this thing is like out to get me. Like, oh my. And he does like this smile, but it's like the most like eerie, like creepy. I'm getting like chills. He like does like this smile, and the angle is like this. And he takes the knife and never like takes his eyes off me. So he just jabs himself in the back of the head, like full force, like just stabs himself in the back of the head, never breaks eye contact with me. And like, I remember literally just like fighting with myself to just wake up. And I finally did. Like, I jumped awake. You know, in like the horror movies when they be having nightmares and like they jump straight awake and they like, that was me. Except I had like this piercing headache, like when I woke up, in the back of my head, that just was like, it just felt like somebody stabbed me in the back of the head. And it's just like, you know, I wouldn't think that I would know what that feels like, but I definitely do, because I just feel like in some type of realm. I don't know, but I felt it. And I remember telling my dad about the dream, and he like looked at me kind of weird. It was like with a look of like urgency, because I remember telling him when he got home later that night, like I was just like, I had like a really bad dream today. And he was like, what was it about? Yeah, I had a dream about like this old man, and he was in a hospital gown, and he just looked at me and he was like, what does the old man look like? And I was just looking at him like, he looked really mean. And then my dad started describing him for me.
Should I describe him? White hair, old, ugly, decrepit, zombie face looking dude.
And he was like, was he this? Like, was he that? Exactly what I described to y'all in the beginning. And I just remember looking at him, and it was like I instantly recognized why my father knew who he was. I mean, he hasn't visited me since, so that's good, but that's what I'm not going with again. But that is all for my terrifying story time about how my father contacted a demon, and then years later it contacted me for whatever reason. I still don't know. Do I want to find out? No, sir. Some things are just better left unexplained. I am about to burn some of this and cleanse myself. Matter of fact, should I burn it? We're gonna burn some sage and cleanse all the negative energy and cleanse all of my crystals and be great for the rest of the night, because I don't want anything touching me. I don't want anything looking at me. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to feel anything. I don't even want to think anything. After this is done, and I will probably never bring up this story again. If you think I'm crazy, I don't blame you. I am a little bit, but you know. You have my dad's proof, you have my proof. This thing is real, which is exactly why I'm not gonna say the name, because there are some people out there, like how my father was, that will be like, I don't believe you, and then they'll summon it themselves and their life will go downhill. And I don't want that for me or for you. Anyways, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this new little mini series. It doesn't have to only be for Halloween. I could do some more. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and hanging out with me, your favorite cuckoo bird. I love you. That is all. Don't go contacting demons. Don't play Ouija boards. Burn some sage. Okay. Bye-bye.